So you've decided to move to Pittsburgh, but then you started looking online and you realize there's a lot of different areas and neighborhoods and parts of the city that maybe you didn't realize there were before, and it can be kind of overwhelming. So how do you decide which neighborhood is the best one for you? Today I'm going to share with you some tips and information that hopefully will help you narrow that down. Did you know that Pittsburgh has 90 different neighborhoods? And that is just in the city limits. That's not even counting all of the areas that are on the outskirts of the city, in the more suburban and rural areas. So if you're looking to move to the city and you're not really familiar with it, of course it would be super overwhelming trying to decide where would be the best place to put down some roots. Today I want to share with you a couple different tips and things that you can look into that will help you hopefully make this decision a little bit easier along the way. So the first thing is going to be really just kind of trying to focus and narrowing down the neighborhoods that you want to look to live in. And really the best way to do this is going to be to take it to the people. If you know people that live in Pittsburgh or have lived in Pittsburgh in the past, reach out to them and kind of ask their opinions and what they think about the different areas of the city and what might best fit your needs. If you don't know anybody and are super unfamiliar with the city, then I always recommend going to Facebook or an app like Nextdoor or somewhere like that so that you can get very neighborhood specific information. Usually there's different Facebook groups for different neighborhoods and parts of the city, or you can just go to one that encompasses all of them and get your information there. So for instance, I am a member of a Pittsburgh Moms group, and there are people that come in there all of the time who are relocating to Pittsburgh, and they ask for everyone's opinions about what neighborhood they should move into. They often will say, hey, we've been looking at, XYZ neighborhood, they're close to our work or whatever the case might be. And then they ask for feedback from people in the group, and they're usually able to get a ton of really helpful and valuable information. So as far as narrowing down where you're looking, if you're unfamiliar with the city, I think that is a really, really great place to start. Now, once you have an idea of some of the neighborhoods you want to look at, you might want to get more into the specifics and nitty-gritty of those neighborhoods. First thing being, if you are looking for school districts, and if that's an important part of your search whenever you're looking to move. Again, ask people in the Facebook groups what they think of the different school districts. Another idea would be to go online to some online databases that have just records of, the rankings for the schools, their different demographic makeups and things like that might be of interest to you. One site that I definitely recommend that you go on for that would be niche.com, and I will put a link to it down below in the notes so that you can go visit that. But it gives you some really good information about school rankings in the area, and again, it always helps to ask people who actually live there or have kids that go to the different school districts so they can give you some really good, thorough background information and opinion on what they think. Something else that you may want to research if it's important to you would be the crime rates of certain neighborhoods. Again, this is something that you're able to find out pretty easily online. You could also call the local police or municipality and ask them for some information on their crime rate statistics as well, if that's something that you want to keep in mind and take into account when you're looking for a neighborhood to move into. One of the bigger things that I think people need to focus on in terms of looking to move to Pittsburgh would be considering a commute for work. So I know a lot of people have moved to remote work, and if that's your case and it doesn't really matter where work is in relation to home, then that's one thing. But if you do need to travel into the city to work, you definitely want to take into consideration where you're going to be looking to live and what your commute is going to look like. There are tunnels leading into the city from multiple points of where you might be looking to buy a home. And if that's the case, you're definitely going to deal with a lot of traffic during the heavy rush hour time periods. So you want to take a look at how much it's going to affect your commute. Pittsburgh also doesn't have the most robust public transportation system as some other cities do. We do have the busing and we do have a T system, but it only runs from certain parts of the city. So you definitely want to take into account what public transportation looks like in terms of getting you to work versus driving, and what your commute will look like as well, and figuring out what's going to work best for you in that situation. I personally had a job in the past where I had to drive through a tunnel to get downtown to my work, and it was only 5 minutes, honestly, if there wasn't traffic, but with traffic I would sit for almost an hour, and that definitely can get to you after some time. So I do think it's super important to try to take into account what your commute is going to look like whenever you're looking for a place to move. Something else that obviously will be a big factor is going to be the cost of living. You can really do some research about Pittsburgh and the cost of living overall as an average, but I do think that you need to break it down into certain specific areas that you're looking to move to. It's going to look different in one place than it is from another in terms of housing costs, be it rentals or buying, and looking at what the homes cost in those areas that you're interested in. Also, I think it helps to look up what some of the local restaurants are and looking at the price of meals and food. It kind of gives you an idea of the cost of living in those certain specific areas. Definitely something I think would be worth taking into consideration when you're looking for somewhere to move. If you're outdoorsy, there are a lot of parks and different recreational things around the city as well. So if that's important to you, or if you want to live somewhere that's very bikeable or walkable and has access to parks and things like that, something to keep in mind and consider whenever you're narrowing down your search. At the end of the day, Pittsburgh is a great city to live. There is so much diversity and there's so many different cultures that you can experience here. Just so much great stuff happening around the city overall. It really is a city that has more of like a small town feel, and I love that, being that I came from a small town myself. That doesn't mean that moving here can't be overwhelming or scary at times, especially trying to figure out if it's a brand new city to you, what's going to work best for you. But reach out to people that you know, and if you don't know someone, then reach out to a local real estate agent who is familiar with the local market and the neighborhoods and will be able to help guide you and help you along that process as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that these tips have been helpful. I hope that they will guide you along and help you pick out what's going to be the best neighborhood for you to move to. If you need any assistance at all, please feel free to reach out to me. I also welcome any other helpful tips that you think would be important to somebody who might be looking to move to the area, and you can let me know what those are in the comments below. If you are looking to buy in the Pittsburgh area, check out some of my other videos that are tailored for the home buyer so that they can help give you some other information that will help make you super educated and prepared to start that process. Thank you so much, and I will catch you next time.